Give me a second. I'm gonna see what's going on with YouTube, and then I'm gonna take a look. Give me a second. YouTube is loading up. Hopefully YouTube is loading up. Okay, there we go. All right, give me a second. I gotta go get my eats. I'm back. Let's see who popped up in here. Boxing Lounge, salute. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you coming through. I had to get my food. All right. Let's see. Yeah, I got some things I want to read. How's your day, Boxing Lounge? Let's see. I'm trying to get my script for today. I'll be writing so much, I'll be burying my script sometime. Give me a second, please. Everything's good. It's just that I hate that I always be doing everything at the last minute. I'm the only one doing doing the show right now. So I gotta like really come up with topics and things. So I'll be racking my brain at the last minute. Especially doing the show every day, literally. Let me see. Okay. This is episode 166. I can't believe I did 166 episodes. All right. Let me see. All right. It's basically like this topic today is it's a lot of content creators and people in the community. They try to align themselves with me and let me accept the game the way, the way it is. And my thing is, when we accept the game the way it is and we work, we play it for what it is, and we don't say anything, the developers say, hey, they're not complaining. Maybe we did a good job. And people always think for the developers. No, they know the game is broken. That's what people said. No, the developers know what we want. No, they don't. They're not boxing fans. All they hear is different people saying different things. You got the casual fans. They wanting things that's for casual fans. You got the hardcore fans. They want things for hardcore fans. Then you got the people that's in the middle. But you got all them voices at one time. And what does a person do when they hear different voices at one time? I'm just going to put what I want to put in there, what I think they deserve. We can't come together as a community. And my thing is, y'all think I'm just for me. But my thing is, I'm for options, 100%. All right, let me think. Does a community circuit reduce incentives for SEIs to improve? Let me see what you. What's up on Precisely? Salute. Does a community circuit reduce incentives for SEI to improve? It can, but only under one condition. if the narrative becomes the game is fine, you just have to play it correctly. That's what I get when people invite me to these leagues and stuff. And a lot of them, I'm like, I'm their mascot basically, because I tell them I don't have the game. I mean, I have the game, but I don't have a system. When my son left, he took his PC, he took the PlayStation 5. And my thing is, should I buy a PlayStation 5 just for Undisputed? No. Even though I love other games, but I'm not buying no PlayStation 5 for Undisputed. Undisputed don't give me a reason to buy it. You could be the hardest, you could be the most passionate person ever. It don't mean you're supposed to support some just because it's a boxing game. You don't see boxers going to every amateur event. When I was young, I thought boxers be at amateur events and stuff. Every once in a blue moon, you see superstar boxers and contenders and stuff at amateur boxing events. All right. I'm going off target. Excuse me. Excuse me for my eating. If the narrative becomes the game is fine, you just have to play it correctly. That framing shifts responsibility from the developer to the player. That framing shifts the responsibility from the developer to the player. So the developer say, hey, they could do it themselves. We ain't got to do nothing. Just get them a little bit of mechanics. They'll figure it out. But we're paying these developers to give us what we want. But we end up doing their job for them. And here's where you're and that's where they're uncomfortable. The framing shifts responsibility from developer to players. And that's where you're uncomfortable. Because stamina logic, AI depth, damage modeling, identity systems, those are not community responsibilities. Those are engineering responsibilities. How do I know these things? Research. Research. Until y'all saying in the chat. Boxing Now says simple, advanced sliders on attributes and mechanics. Sliders in general. Exactly. Sliders mean a lot in gaming today. Yeah, that narrative fall apart when you're playing opponents who use every fight night exploit in the game. Exactly. I hear people talking about Fight Night Champion is a better game, yet they use the same exploits in Fight Night, in Undisputed. I see the same exploits in Undisputed. And that's crazy. That's why I say when Undisputed make all these excuses and stuff, they acting like a lot of y'all that's playing the game are children. Like y'all don't realize that there were games that came before Undisputed. So all them games, the mistakes that the past games made, you supposed to improve upon. But they didn't. The only thing they improved upon was the footwork. And then that changed. A lot of people don't notice that. We don't have the footwork we had in the ESBC and in the Undisputed, the early Undisputed. We don't have that same footwork, but a lot of people don't realize that. Let me see. If people start if people start normalizing just spam instead of why does the stamina system allow spam to be viable? Then yes, incentives weaken. You're not wrong to think that way. But here's the nuance. A sim circuit doesn't automatically equal acceptance. A sim circuit does not automatically equals acceptance. And when I say sim circuit, is like when people make these leagues and stuff. I take it as accepting what the game is. I take it as accepting what the game is. It depends on how's its framing. But the framing happens when you start making the rule sets. That's where the framing comes from. It depends on how it's framed. There are two possible outcomes. A culture as bandage. A culture as bandage. I'm going to explain that to you. We fixed it with rules. See? We fixed it with rules. So you put rules in place for the broken mechanics. The workaround. That protects the product from critiques. Putting rules in place protects the product from critiques. Culture as stress test. Look how the mechanics break under disciplined play. That exposes the product more clearly. Those are completely different strategy outcomes. The first protects the devs. The second pressures the devs. What actually moves a studio? Studios respond to retention metrics, engagement patterns, influencer tone. Influencer tone. I keep hearing influencers say, no, what we say don't mean nothing. It seemed like y'all been talking to the developers and y'all got silenced because influencer tone moves the studio. What the influencers say moves the studio. And then y'all say, if y'all didn't mean anything, there would not be sections for the influencers on the Discord. They would not have had that event if y'all did not mean anything. So y'all do mean something. Y'all can make the developers do what y'all want them to do, what the community wants them to do. So stop talking to grown-ups like they're children. Stop talking to preteens like they're children. Stop talking to teenagers like they're your children. Studios respond to competitive viability. Studios respond to community fragmentation. If serious sim players build a circuit and still openly document flaws, that doesn't reduce pressure. If they build a circuit and act like everything's solved, and that absolutely reduces pressure. If they build a circuit and act like everything's solved, they absolutely reduce pressure on the developers. That's why when people invite me to be in these leagues, I don't say anything. I'll join the league, but I'm not going to say anything. Because what y'all doing is accepting things. And I can't sit up there and say, hey, yeah, they playing like how boxing's supposed to look. When the mechanics is not in the game. What are we doing to make the developers change? My fear is about narrative shift, not participation itself. My fear is about narrative shift, not participation itself. Because I would join any of them leagues, but I'm not going to actively participate in them and act like nothing is wrong. Let me see. Boxing Lounge said, it's madness having a combat game with fast footwork and slow punch output. Can't land a three-piece if the opponent constantly back foot after the exchange. What's up, Leafy? Shout out to Pound for Pound Boxing. Pound for Pound UFC. Pound for Pound MMA. All right, let me see. The hard reality. If you completely detach from everything, let me see. The hard reality. If I completely detach from everything, my influence stay pure, but limited. If I step in strategically and say, I'm participating to highlight what still needs fixing, I gain evidence. And evidence is stronger than opinion. That's what I'm doing. I'm there. I'm gathering data. But like I say, what I say means nothing to Steel City or anybody. Nobody cares about what I say, especially not on that team. Let me see. And evidence is stronger than opinion. Imagine being able to say, we ran structured amateur bouts. Here's where stamina breaks. Here's where AI failed to adapt. Here's where ring generalship collapses. That's hard to dismiss. I was just using an example. I know y'all be like, amateur bouts. Using an example. And my thing is, I think any engagement softens pressure. My thing is, we need to put pressure on Steel City. Steel City doesn't have no pressure. The only pressure they got is from the publishers and the investors. And then by putting pressure on the them, we put pressure on the publishers and investors. People keep thinking that their voice don't mean anything. From my experience, when we start making noise, the publishers and the investors hear it and see it. That's when things start changing. But everybody, no, it's not going to work. They don't listen. They don't listen. I'm telling you, they don't listen. They're listening more now than ever. They're making another game. They're listening more now than ever. And everybody went silent all of the content creators and everything, they went silent. And that seemed like by design. Right now is when everybody should be speaking the most. Right now is when everybody's supposed to be talking, making ideas, bringing the community together. But everybody like, let's wait and see. Wait and see what? They had the same thing all over again? With a couple of fixes? Yo. Let me see. All right. When workarounds absolutely benefit SCI, workarounds benefit developer if they increase engagement numbers. They increase player retention. They reduce public criticism. That's the main one right there. The workaround that the leagues do, it reduces public criticism. That's why I feel that everybody that have the leagues, they're trying to bring me aboard. Yo, could y'all pull Poe in? Could y'all get Poe to join y'all leagues? Because it reduces my criticism. I've been doing this for decades. Nobody's going to silence Poe. Nobody's going to make me be quiet. They shift blame from mechanics to player behavior. Workarounds benefit the developers if they shift blame from mechanics to player behavior. Workarounds benefit the developers if they create the narrative that if that is fine if you play it right. It's fine if you play it right. I'm hearing a lot of people in the league say that. That's PR stuff. That's why when people be saying stuff to me, I'm like, yo, you telling me stuff that I don't heard 15, 20 years ago. Stuff I heard 15 or 20 years ago. See, the game works. You need discipline. Nobody more disciplined than I am. See, the game works. You need discipline. That's exactly what I heard. Somebody actually DM me that. That protects the product from structural scrutiny, y'all. They're gonna that's what they do. Developer responsibility should not be replaced by community compensation. If stamina allows unrealistic output, that's a stamina system issue. If AI lacks adaptive identity, that's an AI architecture issue. If damage modeling lacks layered consequences, that's a design system issue. Players enforcing rules don't change the engineering gap. And you don't want to normalize engineering gaps. That's consistent with everything I said publicly. So I don't want to sit there and be a part of a league that goes against everything that I try to stand for. The developer's not going to fix anything. Workarounds only benefit SEI if they are framed as solutions. They will say, we are maximizing what's there, but these flaws remain. We are maximizing what's there, but these flaws remain. Heard that before from the developers. Because they think is they see people they're working with, with what we got. So they think like, well, we'll act like we're fixing something. That's basically what they're doing. Studios improve when the flaws are visible. The serious community refuses to normalize them. Studios improve when engagement doesn't equal approval. Studios improve when influential voices stay consistent. When influential voices stay consistent. Everybody's the people that was critical before, and that they got to go out to Vegas and do different things, they went silent. They went silent. Was that by design? Y'all answer that. I'm not going to answer it. Let me see. Let me see y'all saying in the chat. I'm doing good, Leafy. Yeah, I'm doing good. Okay. Let's zoom out. If every serious boxing mind refuses to engage at all, who is left shaping the culture? Casual muscle memory play, arcade pacing, spam meta that can push the game further away from realism. So there's a trade-off. Stay outside and keep pressure pure. Step inside carefully and shape culture while keeping pressure intact. I can't see that happening. Neither is morally superior. There's strategic choices. All right, give me a second, y'all. All right. This is not about negativity. I am not anti-community, anti-sim player. I am pro-standards. If stamina logic is shallow, if defensive responsibility isn't properly rewarded, if AI identity lacks depth, if damage modeling lacks layered consequences, then pretending those are solved because we create house rules does not move the sport forward digitally. Standards are not hate. Standards are not hate. Developers' responsibility versus community compensation. These are two levels. There are two levels. Level 1, engineering architecture. Level 2, player discipline. Community circuits, I call it circuits, but it's leagues, operate on level 2. But stamina systems, adaptive AI, ring generalship logic, damage modeling, those are level 1 issue. Engineering architecture. If the community compensates for engineering gaps, it risks normalizing them. I've been saying that for decades. And normalization reduces urgency. I refuse to normalize unfinished architecture. I refuse to. Workarounds can reduce pressure. Let's be honest. If the public narrative becomes you just have to play it correctly, that shifts responsibility from developer to player. Studios respond to engagement data, retention metrics, influence tone, community sentiment. If influential voices soften too early, urgency fades. If influential voices soften too early, urgency fades. Them voices faded early, very early. Then they tried to loop around, but it was too late. You softened too early. Improvement is driven by pressure, not comfort. Improvement is driven by pressure, not comfort. You're comfortable, they're listening to us. You're comfortable, they're going to do the right thing. That's not always the case. My brand is consistency. I built my voice around respecting boxing intelligence. Demanding ring IQ matters. Wanting stamina to punish recklessness. Wanting identity-driven AI. Wanting structured depth. If I attach my name to work around ecosystem while these systems are still flawed, I dilute the message. Branding inconsistency damages trust. Branding inconsistency damages trust. And when y'all hear me, when y'all see anything that I post or y'all see me, y'all know that I'm consistent. I do not change for anybody. No matter if they say I'm being over the top, come on, OG, give them a chance. I gave many companies chances. But I also talked to many companies. And the thing is, they tell me, stay consistent. You never gave up. How do I got companies, people for EA say, you're consistent, you never change, and stay being who you are. Stay true to yourself. And trust takes your years, and trust took years to build. My thing is, this the kind of trust I built. People would trust me, like, let's just see hypothetically. Steel City invited me to the studio, which I highly doubt will ever happen. Give me a second. My wife. Yes. Okay, I'm doing so. That was one way. Um, I forgot what I was reading. Okay. Unity without standards is compromise. I understand the emotional pill. Let's build together. Come be a part of the vision. Let's let's support in numbers. But building unity without standards become compromise. And compromise without correction becomes normalization. I won't sacrifice long-term integrity for short-term harmony. This is about long-term franchise health. If this game is going to survive for 10 years, it must reach the structural depth of other sports titles like NBA 2K, Madden NFL, MLB The Show. And before y'all start that, well, EA got a big team. They got they got hundreds of people. No, they didn't start out like that. They did not start out like that. And we can't use that excuse nowadays. You can have 4 or 5 people that can make a beautiful game with the technology we have today. So all those excuses y'all like throwing at companies because y'all know that they did a bad job, they don't work today. It doesn't work today. I can't go with that excuse with they're a small team. They're a small team. All right, let me see. Those games improve because hardcore fans, ML, NBA 2K, Madden NFL, MLB The Show. Those games improve because hardcore fans refuse to move the bar. That's what made the games better. Not the team size or anything. You can have a huge team and still make a garbage game. You can have a huge team and still make a garbage game. Those games improve because hardcore fans refuse to move the bar, not because they accept it good enough. Boxing deserves the same seriousness. If core mechanics improve, I will acknowledge it. If stamina becomes layered, if AI adapts dynamically, if damage modeling carries meaningful consequences, if ring positioning truly matters, I will support it openly. This isn't personal, it's structural. I respect the so called sim community. I respect builders. I respect effort, but I cannot attach my credibility to work around systems while foundational systems still need correction. That will go against everything I've advocated for all these years, all these decades. I'm not here to divide. I'm here to protect the standard. And until boxing is digitally, until boxing in digital form is treated with the depth and intelligence the sports deserve, I will continue to push for better integrity over optics. Let me see, let me see, let me see. Give me a second, y'all. Let's see what y'all saying in the chat. AI is a huge help. Someone made a full website with an AI powered image identify for what type of fish you have. I had the details on it. If you can find those kind of fish in the lake, you're at crazy. Oh, yeah. I thought you were trying to say fight at first. I had to read the rest of it. I didn't know where you was going with that. Yeah, AI is better than what people, if it's used right, it could be very useful in gaming. All right, I'm going to read some Q&As. Why not just support the sim circuit? Why not just support the sim leagues in the meantime? Because supporting a workaround can unintentionally normalize the flaw. Because supporting a workaround can unintentionally normalize the flaw. Its stamina systems allow unrealistic output, and we say, just don't throw that much. We are compensating for a system issue. Player discipline should not replace developer responsibility. I respect discipline, but I won't frame compensation as correction. But I won't frame compensation as correction. Aren't you hurting the community by refusing to participate? No. The community and core mechanics are two different things. You can respect builders and still demand architectural improvement. My stance in anti-community never has been. It's pro-foundation. Question 3, isn't some realism better than none? Only if it doesn't mask what still needs fixing. If some realism becomes the ceiling instead of the floor, the franchise stagnates. Boxing deserves layered stamina, adaptive AI, meaningful damage modeling, true ring generalship. Partial art authenticity shouldn't be the end goal. Partial realism shouldn't be the end goal. Why not help improve it from the inside? A league is not going to help me improve anything. Being inside a league is not going to help me improve the game, because they're not developer leagues. They're not Steel City leagues. They're not another game company league. They're fan-made leagues. They're not. That's not going to help the game be better. Improvement from the inside only works if you're pushing for systematic change. Is participation if participation is interpreted as endorsement, the pressure softens. If participation is interpreted as endorsement, the pressure softens. And pressure is what moves development. I won't attach my name in a way that dilutes accountability. I won't attach my name in a way that dilutes accountability. Not saying that I'm somebody major, because to me, I'm not nobody major, or my name doesn't mean anything in the community. I'm not a major streamer or anything, not a major content creator, especially not in the boxing or none of that. Are you against fun? These questions. Question 5, are you against fun? And my thing is, what is fun? This is a question that always pops up. What is fun? What is fun to a casual player is different from what is fun to a hardcore fan. What is fun to a hardcore fan is different from what is fun to a casual player. Are you against fun? No. But realism and fun are not enemies. Consequences create tension. Tension creates immersion. Immersion creates longevity. Arcade pacing can be fun for a week. Structural depth builds a franchise. Do workarounds actually benefit the developers? Yes, they can. If the narrative becomes the game works, you just have to play it right. That shifts blames away from the engineering gaps. Studios respond to metrics and tone. If influential voices soften, urgency fades. Question 7. What will make you change your position? Again, I don't know how I feel and what I think matters to anybody. But what will make you change your position? Clear structural improvement, layered stamina system, adaptive AI identity, consequential damage modeling, ring positioning that truly matters. If those evolve, I'll say so openly. This isn't personal, it's architectural. Question 8. Are you dividing the community? No. The community is already divided. Division comes from lowering standards and calling accountability negativity. Division comes from lowering standards and calling accountability negativity. You can disagree respectfully, but protecting authenticity isn't division, it's stewardship. Question 9. What if the sim community grows without you? Then I waste some discipline and success. My position doesn't require control, it requires consistency. If they push realism without masking flaws, that's productive. If they normalize flaws, that's where I step back. Question 10. So what's your final stance? I respect builders. I respect effort, but I will not attach my credibility to work around systems while foundational mechanics remain unfinished. Integrity over optics, always. Give me a second. Let me see. I'm gonna read a couple of more Q&As. If I don't get no more people in here, I'm gonna end it off with this. Let me see. Aren't you being too rigid? I don't know what they mean. Don't know what you mean by that. No. Standards feel rigid to people who are comfortable with flexibility. Standards feel rigid to people who are comfortable with flexibility. But realism in a sports simulation requires structure. Boxing isn't chaos. It's discipline, pacing, consequence, and ring IQ. If the digital version ignores that architecture, calling it out isn't rigidity, it's accuracy. Question 12. Why not just enjoy what we have? Because enjoyment and evaluation are different. I can enjoy aspects of something and still recognize its structural weakness. I can enjoy aspects of something and still recognize its structural weaknesses. I'm not playing the game. Enjoyment does not erase responsibility to improve. Isn't perfection impossible? Of course. This isn't about perfection. It's about direction and systems trending towards layered realism, or are we building culture around limitations? That's the real question. If a simile proves realism is possible, this is a question. If a simile proves realism is possible, doesn't that show the game works? Not necessarily. It may show disciplined players can restrain themselves. It may show disciplined players can restrain themselves. That's not the same as systems enforcing realism organically. In true simulation design, the engine should discourage unrealistic behavior automatically. So you're saying, this is question 15. So you're saying house rules aren't valid. My answer, house rules are valid within communities. They are not substitutes for mechanical integrity. They're patches, not architecture. House rules are like patches. What if this is the best we're going to get? Then we accept stagnation. Every major sports franchise evolved because someone demanded better. If fans stop pushing, progress slows. History proves that. Question 17. Are you worried about how it looks? That's the beast. That's beast. I can't talk right now, beast. Are you worried about how? Are you worried about how it looks to your audience? Yes, because consistency builds trust. If I've spent months advocating for foundational fixes, then suddenly attach myself to workarounds, ecosystems, that signals contradiction. Trust is hard to build and easy to fracture. Question 18. Couldn't participation give you more influence? Only if influence isn't misinterpreted as approval. If participation blurs the line between critique and endorsement, leverage decreases. Clear boundaries preserve influence. Do you think, this is question 19, do you think the sim community is wrong? No. I think they're disciplined. But discipline should amplify structural improvement, not compensate for its absence. Question 20. Are you trying to gatekeep boxing? I'm protecting the sport intelligence. That's a difference. Gatekeeping excludes people. Standards protect death. Question 21. What would true simulation look like? Stamina that punishes reckless output. Defensive systems that reward timing and positioning. That adapts based on tendencies and fight flow. Damage that accurately, strategically and not randomly. Ring control that changes outcomes. When those systems exist naturally, house rules become optional, not necessary. What's the danger if everyone just supports what's there? What's the danger if everyone just supports what's there? Complacency. Complacency is quiet. It doesn't feel harmful, but it lowers the ceiling permanently. Developers don't listen to complacency. Are you anti-SCI? Question 23. Are you anti-SCI? No. Holding a developer or company accountable is not hostility. It's how serious franchises are built. Critiques and support can coexist. Critiques and support can coexist. Blind endorsement and accountability cannot. Blind endorsement and accountability cannot. Question 24. Would you ever collaborate with them? If structural direction aligns with the standards I advocate for, yes. But collaboration without foundational commitment is branding, not progress. But collaboration without foundational commitment is branding, not progress. This is my final question for the night. Unless I got people in there. If I got one or two extra people in there that popped in, because I ain't looking at the chat, I'll do some more questions and I'll talk more. All right. What's this really about? Longevity. Longevity. I don't want a boxing game that survives for 2 years. I want one that defines the genre for a decade. And that requires foundational strength, not workaround culture. Integrity over optics. Integrity over optics. Let me see what the chat is saying, and then let me see. Nobody popped in. All right, y'all. Salute to the 8 people that voted. Let me give my shout out. Oh, what's up? Lamont Davis popped in. I miss you, Lamont Davis. Dad, I ain't even see you. I was reading Leafy stuff and missed you. Salute to you, Lamont Davis. I'm gonna give my shout outs. You know, I know today is a Monday and everybody went to work today and they trying to acclimate into the week. So, you know, I'm in the show and I did my hour, so that's good. I don't think I'm gonna ever do 3 hours again until I get like a second person another host with me or something like that. Shout out to Lamont Davis 89. Appreciate you coming through, my brother. Shout out to Leafy, pound for pound boxing game. Change the name, Leafy. Let me see. Shout out to Boxing Lounge. You was in here first. Shout out, I'm Precisely. He popped through. He popped in. Shout out to JMMA. Jay, you still should try what I said. Shout out to JMMA. Shout out to Blaster X1. Shout out to Shaolin FaZe. You know, shout out to Don D205. Shout out, Don D205 is on Twitch. And on Instagram is Don D205. Don D205 TV on Instagram. And you can get him Don D205 on Twitter, X. You know, who else I'm forgetting this shout out. Shout out to the Wishless Mafia. And shout out to Papanosis. You know, shout out to all of y'all, man. And shout out to everybody that invite me to be in their league. Shout out to y'all. You know, no, I'm not shaming y'all or trying to, down y'all or anything. Shout out to y'all for just even thinking about me. A lot of y'all even know a lot of other leagues have me in their league, even though I don't participate in none of the leagues. But I guess they got me there, like, I don't know why. So they could show me that the game plays decent when you play a certain way. And that reminds me of, when people say when you play the game a certain way, it reminds me of playing with see, I come back from the era when we had the plastic army men, the green army men. Even though we start moving up to, we start modernized to the movables army men and characters. But I'm from the era when we were pretending, at least with a video game, when the mechanics is right, you can control them. You know, you control with the movement and everything. And my thing is the company is never going to get better if we just keep accepting things. So let me end the show. Shout out to everybody. And shout out Mike Straw. If you see this video or you hear or you watch, you one of the people, one of the developers and one of the journalists that be watching my shows, Mike Straw, read your LinkedIn messages. Read your LinkedIn messages. Because Mike Straw is about to do an event, and I'm trying to get guys like Claim Uncut and Love C Shorty to be talked about in that event. He should mention them because he's talking about companies that's looking for money to help with their games and stuff, funding and stuff. These are companies. There are people that need funding for their games. So Mike Straw, hit me back. I'll text you on your Instagram. I mean, not your Instagram, your LinkedIn. And I also message you on Twitter. I'm moving heavy. I'm moving more than I ever moved. I'm trying to attack people. I'm trying to contact people on any kind of system I can and reach out to anybody that I can, as many people as I can. A lot of people think I be playing and I be lying and stuff like that. No. I'm trying to really, like, at this moment, I'm really trying to push to get a game and get people to make something. Sure. If EA feel like it's gonna be too expensive to make a boxing game, hey, make a GoFundMe. Hey, people will pay for it. That's how fans are. They will pay for it. All right, y'all. Salute and peace until tomorrow. 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And shout out to all the developers that watch this show. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe. And please share this. The show can get worse. It's going to get better.